What are you, deaf? Don't try that Halloween shit with me.
You are now listening to the voice of horror.
Lock your doors, bolt your windows, and turn off the lights. Make sure the kids are safe at home, cause you're headed to the Nightwatch zone.
Welcome to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are, ready to rock Monday nights, slasher movie club night. We are together. Coriander's with me in the flesh, and that is awesome as well. For all of you guys, definitely want to wish you a happy new year. Hope that it has been fun, safe, and I can't think of a better way to start 2024 than being here with you guys, and of course with Corey with me here. A blanket hello to all of you, and let's see who we have in the chat before we get into this. And Coriander, you're muted, just to let you know. Let's see who we have here. That's okay. We've got Darth's in the chat. All right, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Paul is here. And Val, thank you so much for reminding people, hit the like button, subscribe, and all of that good stuff. We appreciate you. The Queen is in the chat.
Hello.
We got the General, we got the
Bow
Queen.
down.
That's right. We got Julie in the chat, the wig master herself. We got so many cool nicknames. I love this. They never tell me, hey man, you got to stop calling me that. That's crazy shit. Sarah's got a channel member anniversary. 11 months, man. 11 months. Right about to hit that 1 year. It's amazing. Sarah, thank you so much for all of the support, all of the love. You just do so much for not only this channel, but for the community. And we've got something really cool that we have cooking up, a new series that we're looking to start. I'll just tease it like that. You guys need to keep your eyes on the channel, upcoming streams and so forth. But Sarah, thank you so much for everything you do, saying I love being a part of this community. It's been a great 11 months and I can't wait for the next year. Absolutely. No doubt. No doubt at all. And Brandon, what's up? Brandon the Beldam's in the chat. Right. Very, very cool.
Hello.
Good to have you here, man. And you're right, man. A lot of great performances in horror. Some even get overlooked by the popularity of others. Absolutely. No doubt. Dominic's in the chat. What's up, my man? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. One of our longest supporters on Patreon. Much love, man. Thank you for being here.
That's
Happy
awesome.
New Year. Good to see you. Sarah's keeping track of things. 22 likes. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about. Definitely. We appreciate you guys. Ginger Ninja, all the way over from the land down under. What's up, brother? Happy
Hey.
New Year. Another one
Yeah.
of our longest term supporters. Much love to him.
Mm-hmm.
FD, what's going on? Paula says that was cool seeing my name. Well, that's why we do that, man. We want to, show appreciation to you channel members, and it's really, really an amazing thing that have you guys here and supporting us.
Yeah.
Very, very cool stuff. You guys are so funny. Sarah, I don't know if you saw this, Coriander, in the chat. Sarah was like, "Woo! Hey, Coriander,"
Hi.
and the tree
No,
is
I
lovely.
didn't see it. Thank
Yeah,
you. Still
yeah,
up. I'm not
that's
quite
right.
ready to take it down yet.
That's right.
I just can't do it.
That's
It's
right. That's
fake,
right.
so I could leave it up all year round if I wanted to.
You guys stop, man. Oh man.
What do you
And
mean?
and Jack's in the chat. What's up, Jack? Good to see you, man. Yeah, we were hanging out last night, having a blast. Good to have you here, man. And
Nice.
Jack's gifting a membership. Man, I'm telling you
Yay.
what.
That's
Thank you so much,
awesome.
Jack. We appreciate you, man. Much love. And it looks as though it's gifted to Dr. Gonzo. Okay. I haven't seen that person in the chat. So welcome to the
Okay.
channel membership.
Awesome.
Welcome to our community.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Danielle, what's going on? Good to see you. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Jason, the nice one in the house. All right.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, man. Happy New Year to all you guys. To you as well,
Mhm.
James. Very, very cool. Love it. Love it. Love it. Okay, so tonight, Julie says our tree is up, still up too, Coriander.
Nice. That's right.
Nice. Very, very cool. So tonight, guys, and we've been pretty excited to do this because we have a lot of our content that we talk about movies, and that's a lot of fun. But sometimes we don't get a chance to focus on some of the individual aspects. And if you guys have been noticing lately, I've spent time in live streams and in videos talking about specific scenes, characters, actors and actresses. We've done our final girl streams recently. We still have some more to do, but so now tonight we want to talk about performances, and specifically, we're talking about two actors that are absolutely iconic, and we want you guys to be a part of this discussion as well. I've got a poll in the chat, so definitely, Sarah or Val, if you can kind of keep us updated with that every so often, great. And also, Dominic, let me just say, man, saying I'm proud to be a Patreon member. Thank you so much, man, because we appreciate you guys. I know with Patreon, a lot of times people that come to YouTube channels, they don't think of Patreon as much, but the Patreon is really cool because we get to watch movies, live. We can actually like show the movies live and not have to worry about, YouTube and all that type of stuff. So thank you so much, man. I mean, you, Ginger Ninja, Neil, Val, all you guys that have been part of that for such a long time, we really do appreciate it. Jason, and I'm not going to name everyone, but you guys know what I'm saying. So we appreciate you, man. But seriously, tonight it's about two of the best of all time, Coriander, in my opinion. We're talking about Anthony Hopkins, who portrayed Hannibal the Cannibal Lecter, and of course the iconic. Well, both of these men are iconic to me, but of course, we're talking also about Jack Nicholson, who played Jack Torrance in The Shining. Now, when we talk about these two actors, so
you're getting all
first of all,
serious. Your
why you say
posture
that?
changed because your posture changed, and you're like, okay, so
You gotta stop, man. You
I'm
gotta
sorry.
stop. All right. Hey, look, I don't. No, but seriously, when we talk about these two actors, these two characters, in your mind, how iconic are they? We're not going to get into the full discussion yet, but how iconic are they
Oh
to
my
you?
God. I mean, the movies they've been in, the characters they've portrayed, I mean, they're iconic. I mean, you can't say anything less than that. You know what I mean? Because they're so good. So, and they put everything they have, it seems like, into their performances. So, yeah, it's fun to watch them. So,
Good point. Good point. Well, these two movies, let me just say, these two movies for me in my
yeah.
horror fandom are, man, they're at the top of the list, to be quite honest.
Mhm.
The Shining and also The Silence of the Lambs, we've
Mhm.
talked about these in one way or the other, several
Yeah.
times, whether it's rankings of movies or specific streams. But these are two totally different horror films. And these are two totally different types of characters or antagonists. And I think that
Mhm.
that is what's going to make this conversation really interesting. For you guys in the chat, we've got the poll
Yep.
up right now. You can
What's
vote
the poll?
on who has the best performance right now.
Oh,
We have 15 votes, 40% for Jack, and we've got
okay.
60% for Anthony Hopkins. So far, that's
Okay.
what we've got. So keep on voting. I know this is
Yeah.
challenging,
Is
but we're
this for
gonna
the end of
go.
the show?
Yeah,
When
yeah,
you
we're gonna
okay.
see. Yeah, we're gonna see where it lands at the end of the show. But we're gonna go through a few different categories first. So for you
Okay.
guys that are usually with us on Tuesday nights, this will seem a little
Mm,
familiar. And let me just say real quick, we got FD who's rejoined the channel membership.
nice.
Very, very cool. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. We appreciate that. It helps us out quite a bit. It helps us to do, all that we do here, man. But thank you so much.
Yeah.
Let's do a quick little super chat clip and let's see what we get here. Here we go.
If you won't give me your heart willingly, then I shall take it.
That's the stupidest fucking thing I ever heard.
There you go.
Okay.
You just never know, man. You never know,
What
right?
the hell is that
Thank,
from?
thank you so much. That's an old school movie. Old school. I love
Yeah,
old.
witches.
Now, we'll get into that some other time. So look, when we talk about these films, man, what's your connection? Let's start with The Shining,
Mm.
since it's the older film from 1980. What's your connection to that movie, and what are some of the things that you think stand out for it?
I mean, I didn't see The Shining till I was like in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, coming from Maine, Stephen King is, big. He's big anyway, but
Mm-hmm.
and usually like around certain like Halloween, they'll play movies, and of course this was on, and I just happened to watch it once, and it was like, wow, it was
Mm-hmm.
really good. And I mean, what stands out for me is obviously the blood scene with the elevator,
Yes.
the old woman in the tub. I mean, that was something.
Yes, yes, yes.
Just yeah, there's so many moments in that movie that it's like, holy shit,
Mm-hmm.
Obviously your favorite, the twins,
The twins,
so
bro.
yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so yeah, that's pretty much how I stumbled upon it. And
Mm-hmm.
it's something that it's a movie that for me is rewatchable, and I can watch that anytime. So yeah.
Absolutely. Very, very cool. And we also have Mayanne in the chat saying hello, everyone. Happy New Year. Thank you
No,
for being
happy
here,
New
May.
Year.
Yeah. And Ginger Ninja also helping us with the poll. Thank you so much, brother. 17 votes. All right. Anthony's in the lead with 59%.
Okay.
For me, when we talk about The Shining, I think that first of all, it's a movie that creeped me out as a kid. You guys
Mhm.
know the movie. I've got the poster here. I've always had kind of the poster present in a lot of our content. It creeped me out as a kid, man. And I think one of the things that was so great about the film was the atmosphere, and it allowed Anthony Hopkins and also Shelley Duvall. I want to give credit. I'm sorry, Jack Nicholson. I said Anthony Hopkins. Jack Nicholson and Shelley Duvall. I want to give some credit to Shelley Duvall as well. It allowed them to really, I don't know, just utilize their talents in a very special way. You know,
They played off each other well,
they did.
so yeah. They were great
They-
choices for
yeah,
these characters.
they really were. And I think that being that they were in a place where they couldn't just run away, they had to be
Mhm.
cooped up together. I think a lot of that just played out in the film, and it like
Yep.
everything was just like working off of each other. But it's such a well-made film. And of course, I saw the movie before I read the book. Being a big fan of Stephen King, we both grew up at a time when Stephen King, I mean, he's still massively popular, but especially
Mm,
back then in the 80s. I mean,
yeah.
you couldn't
80s
go
and
anywhere.
90s.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you couldn't
man.
go anywhere without talking about him and his films and the movie
Yeah.
adaptations. So
Yeah.
The Shining definitely struck a chord with me. And like you said, one of my favorite scenes was that scene in the hallway with the twins when we did our scariest moments in horror movie history. It was
Yeah.
easy for me to pick that as my choice, which, by the way, and I know a lot of you guys that are newer to this channel have not seen that live stream. You should really check it out. It was a lot of fun. We were live with the audience. We had over 25 YouTubers involved in the project, including a lot of our great friends. It was a fun project, but I
It was
think
crazy.
it
Yeah.
was crazy, man. But I think my choice of the twins in the hallway, I think it landed at number 5. You know, we did this big voting thing with the community and so forth. And I think mine landed at number 5. Anyways, that's neither here nor there.
Mm,
But I love The Shining. It's fantastic, man. Now,
it is.
tell me about your connection with The Silence of the Lambs.
Okay, so that movie, um, that was a later one for me. I didn't get to
Mhm.
see that until I was like in my 20s, my early 20s.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I had first seen Jodie Foster in The Accused before I
Mm.
seen this. And
Yeah.
I thought like, wow, she was so good in that movie. You know, Anthony Perkins, he's an awesome actress. Is like, I gotta check this out. And
You mean
again, it
Hopkins?
was yeah, who did I say? Perkins.
Perkins.
Do I always do that? I
No.
always do. I kind of do though with those two, and I don't know why. But yeah, so anyway, and I just stumbled upon it. And again, it was just such a
Mhm.
good movie. And yeah, it was one that, you know, the first time you watch it, you miss some things, you know what I mean? So it's good to, like the second time I watched it, it was like, oh, you know, I didn't catch that the first time, or,
Mm.
you know, so it's, yeah, it's such a good movie. And, you know, he's so good in this role, just like, you know, Jack Nicholson in The
Yeah,
Shining. I mean,
agreed.
these are, ah, and where we have to choose, jeez, what the
I know,
hell?
man. You
I don't
know,
even
this
know
is
who I'm gonna choose, you know?
well, I don't either, man. You know, this is really hard for me. That's why I wanted to do this live and also see what other people thought because I've had
What the hell?
polls on the
Yeah,
community tab where I've done this, and they've really gone back and forth. So I knew that this would be a fun conversation live with our community here.
yeah,
And Julie's saying, I heard Shelley Duvall was tormented by Stanley Kubrick, and that is true. I mean,
yeah,
that's a whole nother story in and of
that's too
itself.
bad.
At
Yeah,
some point, I might even do some talking about that. I mean, he was just really just intense and, doing take after take after take after take. And she
mhm,
was, she was on the edge of a nervous breakdown. She had to be like that for the movie, for her character. You know what I'm saying?
mhm,
And so it really was a struggle for her. But that's an interesting story in and of itself. It really, really is.
yeah,
Um, Now, before I get to my thoughts or my connection to The Silence of the Lambs, Jason was saying I experienced The Shining first. It had such an incredible impact on me. I had seen Nicholson in different roles before this, and when he appeared in this, I was so terrified and blown away. Yeah, yeah,
he's
absolutely
so
agreed, man.
good.
Yeah.
Mhm,
Destin is in the chat. What's up, bro? Good to see you,
I
man.
love him.
Saying this is a hard choice. That is
Mhm.
true. It is very
It
true, man.
is.
And I want to know what you guys think
Oh,
as we're going
it
through these
sucks is what I
categories.
think. No,
Well, but it'll be a fun
I'm
conversation,
just
man.
yes.
Jack's coming in with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much, man. We really appreciate it. The Shining poster is there, but you don't have a certain signed poster up behind you, and there's a spot right there. I've got a lot of posters here, man. At one point, I was thinking I can't have these many posters like behind me because people are just gonna think, well, what does this guy know anything else? Do anything else? But but thank you so
Oh, you're
much,
gonna,
man.
like,
Appreciate it.
every couple of months do the swap out?
No, that gets to be so, draining. But Jack, here's one for you, man. I know you guys love this one. There you go, man.
Yeah.
But Yeah, I mean, for me, The Silence of the Lambs, okay, and I've told this story before. I know a lot of people here may not have heard it. This was a movie that was very special to me because at this point, I was I would call myself kind of an experienced horror fan at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like when I
Mhm.
started training, I was a little kid. By the time I saw The Silence of the Lambs, I was pretty damn experienced. I mean, we would go to the video store pretty much every week. I was always getting horror movies, always watching horror movies. I cemented myself in the big three: Nightmare, Friday, and Halloween, and I just kind of trickled out, after that, watching everything, whether it was, Child's Play or Hellraiser or Pet Cemetery or whatever, you name it, I was watching it. So when I got to The Silence of the Lambs, it was really interesting. I watched this with my mother on a late night, and this movie, and I kid you not, this movie still creeped me out. It still creeped me out. I was an early teen at that point, and man, I still can remember exactly how it was that night, just being creeped out because of the fact of the way that the movie is. It's
Mm.
shot in a very realistic way, kind of almost a gritty, almost like you thought you were watching something that was real, right? And it just caught me, man. My mother was gripped by it, so I always remember
Mm.
that as well. And the performances, I think for me, this movie, it was kind of a turning point in my horror fandom. You know, I
Mhm.
th- I think when I watched this movie, I started to get like I was serious about horror, but I think I got even more serious, if that makes any sense whatsoever. And I was now just immersed into more stuff that was, and some people might say, well, The Silence of the Lambs is not straight horror, or it's horror adjacent, and that, that's fair. For me, it's horror. It's
I mean,
horrible.
you're dealing
Horrific.
it's
It's
horrific
horror.
it's a horrific subject, yeah. It's
It
a serial
is.
killer.
It
I mean,
is.
it just 'cause it's not a slasher routine or,
Right.
some whatever, but I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but for me, it's definitely horror in my opinion. So I
Yeah.
really, but it opened me up to a little bit of a different style too,
Mhm.
because it did have that real life aspect to it. And
Mhm.
anyways, I've never turned back. I've never turned back. This was definitely a big part of my horror journey, and I don't think I've ever really expressed that. And even saying it, it's like, it's kind of it's heavy, but this was a big
Yeah.
turning point in my horror journey. So both of these films, in other words, are just amazing. They're absolutely amazing. Uh,
Yeah.
Mario, what's going on? Good to see
Hey.
you. Hope you're doing well, man. Good to have you here. That's right, FD. It puts the lotion in the basket. And shout out to all these other actors in these films too, man, because they were just great. They were all
They
great.
were.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Brian, what's up? Brian's in the chat. Good to see you as well. Make sure you
Hey.
guys are voting. I would love to
Yeah.
see what this turns out to be. Eric is in the house. What's up, brother?
Hello.
Yes. He's I branched out with a child's play Hellraiser leprechaun. There you go. He has to keep me in, he has to
Ah.
keep me in check. Um, Eric saying with these two performances, I choose Hopkins. He does so much with so little screen time. We don't realize how little he's actually in the film because he has that much of a presence. That's true, man. I mean, I think it
Yeah.
was like 17 minutes of screen time, something like that. It was crazy how little
Wow.
he was actually in the film. And that's a really great
Mm.
point, man.
That is. Yeah.
Brandon, Brandon said Knight is a
Mm.
self-proclaimed horror expert. That's right.
Mhm.
I love it. I love it.
Mm.
Hey, Jamie, happy new year to you. Hope you're doing
Yeah,
well. Good to
happy
see
New
you.
Year. Mhm.
Yes. FD is saying we should do Shelley Duvall versus Jodie Foster for the next one. That would be interesting. I like that idea. That's a really cool idea.
Yeah.
Do me a favor, make sure to leave that in the comments because we've got a couple different ideas what we're going to do for our Monday shows, which is going to be, um, as you guys can tell tonight, a little bit different type of format to quote unquote slasher movie club. But leave that in the comments. That's actually a pretty good idea. Now, when we talk about these films, and we're talking about performance, but I like to just talk about everything around it too. I mean,
Mm.
love poster work, you know that. And I wanted to show some alternate poster
Yeah.
art for these
That's
films.
an awesome one.
Yes.
I like that one.
Yes, I love it too, man.
Mhm.
It is it is it says so much.
It does.
A-
Yeah.
And I love the fact that it's got, Wendy right there with the knife
Mhm.
in front of her eyes, and you see Jack in that
Mhm.
reflection. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
think it's
It's
fantastic.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. One of my favorites. And then here's one again, these are the alternative posters for the films because I just thought they
Yeah.
were interesting. But this is a
That's
different
cool
one
too.
for the Silence of the Lambs. Yeah, and again,
Yeah.
it's and I, you know me, I like symmetry. So to me,
Mhm.
I like to show the
I like
similarities.
how
So
the
with
dude's like of the moth, way down at the
yes,
bottom. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and of course, again, we
That's a
have
cool poster
um,
too.
yeah, we have Clarice that's kind of front and center with Hannibal, right
Mhm.
there. So I love this one as well.
Yeah.
And then here's another one with The Shining that's basically Jack up close and
Mhm.
personal. Um, Terrifying, absolutely terrifying. And again,
Mm.
Jack Nicholson, wow, just wow. One with Hannibal front and center, another different poster for The Silence of the Lambs. And then we have two of my favorites, and this one
Yeah.
for The Shining. A lot of people have seen this one for The Shining, and then this one for The Silence of the Lambs. I love it
Mhm.
because both of them are on the poster. You know what I'm saying, with the moth
Yep.
there. The the um the actual poster or the official poster for The Silence of the Lambs has Jodie Foster on the front with the moth.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? But I like the fact that they put Hannibal on
Yep.
here. So yeah.
Yep.
Then another one, obviously, with our two icons right there, right in front of you. I mean, these are just look, man. I'm getting excited just talking about this shit, man. I mean, it's just so
Right.
iconic. Look at this, man. I mean,
Mhm.
you got Jack right there, you got Hannibal right there. I love the font
Yep.
for The Shining. It pops, just really, really cool. I would love to have that as a poster. And this one for The
Mm.
Silence of the Lambs, I think is great because you have that iconic image of Hannibal, when he's locked up and talking to Clarice, and then it just has the title right there in front of his eyes. It's just fantastic stuff, man. It's great
Yep.
stuff. Now, let's talk about our introductions to these characters in the film. Okay. Now, let's start with Hannibal this time. Now, it's interesting because when you first watch the movie and you don't know what's
Mhm.
going on, right? You're wondering, okay, who is she going to see? Because she goes to seek out the help of Dr. Lecter, right?
Mhm.
I mean, this is like the worst place in the world. She's going down into the basement. It's like 85
Yeah.
stories below the earth.
It's like
It
the
looks
dungeon,
horrible.
right?
It's
Exactly.
beyond a dungeon. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy because she's walking down this long hallway. And again, Jodie Foster, if you guys have been around for any amount of time, you guys know uh, Jodie Foster is a goat to me. I absolutely love her. And the fear that she had mixed in with the bravery and the courage to do her job, you know what I'm saying? I think was such a great balance. But she's walking down this long hallway, and then when the camera pans, to her left, and you see inside of the cell of Lecter, man, it's chilling. It's chilling. And of course,
Mhm.
when he starts to engage with her, he's so polite. He's so charismatic. He's just it, it's not what you would expect. What did you think of this particular introduction to Hannibal Lecter and Anthony's performance in it with Jodie Foster?
Oh God, you could see why he was kept in such a hideous place. He's
Yes.
he's so smart, and
Yeah.
he can I don't know, manipulate you in ways that you don't even know that he's manipulating you, and
Hmm.
it's just, it was really great, the introduction to his character.
Yeah. Yeah. It really was. It takes you out of the horror a little bit because he's just so personable. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
You
And
think he
even
would be like a professor, you'd be at his desk and you were talking about, a horrific case of, you know what I
yes.
mean? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. It's just such an interesting contradiction of sorts. And of course, that conversation that they have, it plays out. It's just so well done. These two actors were just absolutely fantastic. To me, I think that I'll just never forget that because of the way that when you have a character introduction, you didn't have to have any words. Like it was all played out there. Like you said, it was like a dungeon, the way the camera followed Jodie Foster's character and then seeing him. And then it's almost
Hmm.
like, wow, okay, he's the quote unquote monster. And that transition, seeing him being a monster, it took time. Like they played that out. In the beginning, he
Yeah.
absolutely seemed like just a regular person. It's just absolutely fantastic the way they did it, man. Now, let's kind of transition that over to Jack. This is a different type of introduction to him because the film opens up and he's basically going to an interview.
Yep.
That's what he's doing, is doing the interview to
He's
work at
driving
the
to
Overlook.
it, which is
That's
like
right.
one of the best, the music
Oh,
and
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
the mountains and the tree.
Yeah.
It's just so good.
Yes, the scenery,
Yeah.
everything, man. But he's in this interview with Mr. Ullman, and it's very there's an oddness to the conversation. You know what I mean? They're talking to Jack, they're letting him know what's expected, and he kind of seems like, yeah, I need a change, and this and that. But there's like something underneath of it. You can kind of see into the tunnel, so to speak, that there's
Hmm.
something about him. And I think, and there are a lot of people, and I know, and I guess you could call it fair. I think there's a lot of people that see it as Jack Nicholson, he was over the top, he was hamming it up. But I think there was that progression of his madness, in this
Oh
opening
yeah.
scene. Although there was something there, he did seem like a regular guy. He talked about his family, he talked about his
Mhm.
wife being, the horror movie lover and all these types of things, and how he needs a break, he needs time to be alone, him and his family. So again, just like with Hannibal, the monster, you don't necessarily see it yet. You wonder, but you don't
Mhm.
see it. What did you think of that opening scene, like the conversation that he had with Mr. Ullman, as far as especially when Mr. Ullman told him about the murders at the Overlook, and Jack was just kind of like, and it's like he didn't even react to it the way you would think he would react to it.
Well, it's not like, when did it happen? Like 20 years previous or 15 years? You know what I
More,
mean?
yeah, more than that, I believe. Yeah,
Yeah, it was like a long time ago. So,
yeah,
I mean, horrific things happen at places, and unfortunately,
that's true.
you know, I don't mean I don't know. You don't want to react like, oh my God, because maybe the guy would be like, well, maybe he can't hack be in here for this long,
Right.
So I think the way he reacted was, hey, it didn't make me think, you
Yeah.
know, of
Yeah.
anything. So,
Mhm. It was an interesting conversation, and I was kind of thinking, man, what is he going to do? Like when I first watched this movie, I was so invested
mhm.
in his character. Now, here's my question to you. This is what we're going to do. We're going to give a point to one or the other for their
Oh,
introduction scenes. So, who do you
okay.
give the point to? Is it going to be Anthony Hopkins in his intro as Hannibal Lecter, or is it going to be Jack Nicholson and his intro as Jack Torrance?
I'm gonna give it to Anthony for
Okay.
the intro. Yeah.
All right. All right. We'll put you down for that. For me, um, I love both of these introductions, but I think I
Yeah.
also have to give it to Hannibal. And I think part of it too was, again, that weirdness between it was such a dark and scary place, and he was just so prim and proper, and he's talking about his paintings and all this type of stuff. And you're like,
Mhm.
what is up with this guy? There was a lot of nuance to that scene. Not
Yeah.
that Jack didn't have it, but yeah, yeah, I'm gonna go with Anthony on that one too. Okay, real quick too. Paul was saying, That was the terrifying to watch the intro. He was so still. It was perfect. Yeah, agreed.
Mhm.
Absolutely agreed. No doubt about that. Jack coming in with another $5 super chat. Thank you so much, man. Saying the first adaptation of Hannibal was in the '86 film Manhunter. Yes,
Yeah.
Michael Mann's Manhunter. I mean, it was such a great film, and
Mhm.
I think that's a film that was done so well. Of course, Red Dragon was basically a redo of Manhunter. But yeah, it's a good one. There's no doubt about it. No doubt.
Yep.
Um, May saying we're at 30 likes. All right, very, very cool. We got
Nice.
Scott. Scott's in the chat. What's going on, Scott? Good to see you. We got
Hello.
Hollywood guy. All right, great to have
Okay.
you guys here. Very, very cool. And we got Hollywood guy coming in with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much, man. Seriously.
Yeah.
Saying, I think they are both great. Anthony was psychological. He was creepy, but respected. Jack was slowly going crazy, where he became insane. I agree with that.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, I agree with that. Very, very much so. They had different ways that they were being, man. Different ways.
Mm.
Scott is going with Anthony Hopkins as a character intro. Paula also with Anthony Hopkins. Jason is going with Anthony Hopkins. And Julie, yeah, that dungeon, it was disgusting, man. It really, really was. Yeah, no doubt about that. Yeah, and Scott Manhunter was great, man. Yeah, no doubt. FD, yeah, Hannibal Rising was pretty good. I agree. I
Mhm.
agree. No doubt. No doubt at all. So let's also get into the acting, the overall acting. You know, both of these actors just did some great work
They
in this
did.
in these movies. So let's just kind of start with Jack first. What did you
Yeah.
think of his acting overall in the film, if you were to give any particular viewpoint of it?
I mean, the progression he was going through while he
Hmm.
was there, the ghost at that hotel obviously knew that this
Yes.
was like a weakened man that they could influence. And
Hmm.
yeah, it I his acting in this was great. I mean, I know, like, with Anthony, if I could just, I don't know. Obviously, I'm just gonna tell you right now, even though we're jumping the gun, I'm obviously gonna give my point to Jack Nicholson because I
Okay.
just think, Anthony was great, and
Hmm.
yeah, he wasn't in it too long, and I don't know, he was smart and he had to do what he had to do, but to
Hmm.
see what Jack went through, I mean, his wife and his kid at the end going after them,
Yes.
having full on conversation with ghosts,
Hmm.
and yeah, man, it was great to see. And I just have to, yeah, I have to give my point to Jack because I just think he acted more than
Okay.
Anthony.
All
So
right.
yeah.
Well, I think, for me, it's interesting because even though, and of course these movies are different, these
Mhm,
actors are asked to do some different things. And like we've said right from the beginning, Anthony Hopkins has a lot less screen time than,
mhm,
Jack Nicholson does. But that being said, to just take what we have of them, I think Anthony Hopkins, the thing I really like about his performance, his acting in this, is that there was an intensity that he held. You know what I mean? And I didn't even mention this in the character intro, but there was an
mhm,
intensity that he held from the beginning all the way to the end, even though at different times he would show frustration or curiosity or even anger and so forth. But the intensity was, in other words, he was like the most charismatic. It was almost robotic. But I remember hearing that he had this inspiration, from a snake. You know what I mean? As far as just the way he would like have that intensity in his eyes, and
mhm.
you can see that in
And
what
kind
he
of how
was
he
doing.
talked too, if now that you may say that, because he had that
Yes.
smooth kind of, like a hiss of a snake, Clarice,
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Hello, Clarice. It's like
Mhm.
it was like he was, putting her as well as the viewers
Mhm.
under a
He was
spell.
incredible. Yeah.
He
I'm not
was.
saying he wasn't, but
Yeah.
I
Oh,
just
he
think
was.
Jack
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
he
Well, I
showed a
think
lot more range and going from,
yes.
some guy who, who's a drunk who needs to stop because he gets violent,
Yeah.
to, yeah. To me, I don't know. Yeah. With
Well, let
acting,
me
it was easy for me, but
okay.
go
Well,
ahead.
let me say what I'm gonna. I haven't even said mine yet. So to me, I think I have to agree. I'd have to give it to Jack, and I think pretty much what you had said. That there was a huge range to what he was doing. I mean, there were even moments when he really started to go down that rabbit hole of becoming mad. Like even when he would talk to Danny in the room and was sitting, right on his lap, and you could see still those pieces of that father, that caring father that he was. Maybe they were still trying to be, even when he woke up from his nightmare and the fear in his face, man, it was like it was pretty visceral. I think Jack Nicholson, again, I give a lot of credit to his performance, to his acting in this film, because there were a
Yeah.
lot of different things he was doing, and of course, that was an advantage of the character. I mean, the character was present throughout the whole film. But it is what
Yep.
it is. You just got to take what we have from these two performers. So I'm going to go with Jack as well for this one. You guys let us know what you think about the acting in these two films from these two fantastic actors. Scott saying, I'm with Jack. Hollywood guy saying for acting, I'd say Jack. Let's see. Scott Scott Lauderdale is going with Anthony Hopkins all the way. Nicholson was great, but it always takes a while for me to stop seeing him and just see the character. But with Anthony Hopkins, I just saw Hannibal Lecter. Now that's interesting. That's interesting. I think that. But here's one thing for me. I think that Jack Nicholson, and you guys can let me know what you think. Being a big fan of him and his filmography, I think that The Shining kind of became um what he was noted for. You know what I mean? Kind of like that
Mm,
unhinged type of Jack. You know what I mean? I mean, I think if
yeah.
you look at a lot of his films before then, there was other angles that he had, nuances that he had, and so forth. I think with The Shining, that kind of became um, more of the lane that he was in quite often, not all the time, because I've seen him do a lot of other really great roles that were very different than Jack Torrance. You know what I mean?
Oh,
But
yeah.
but I can understand that. I can understand that. Um, Paul is saying this is tough, but based on the fact Anthony Hopkins won for Best Actor, yes, he did. I'd have to give it to Anthony Hopkins. Okay, all right. Jason going with Jack as well. Let's see. Scott Royston saying it's a tie. Oh, okay. Well, unfortunately, we can't give a tie, but all right. Hollywood guy coming in with a $2 super chat saying, Knight, if you had to act with both, who would you choose? Um, that would be wow. You know, okay, well let me just be honest, because Coriander already knows who I'm gonna say. It's gonna be Anthony Hopkins. Anthony Hopkins is my favorite actor. And this movie was definitely a big part of that. But I, have an opportunity to work with Jack Nicholson, especially back then. That would be fantastic. I could really go either way, but my bias of Anthony Hopkins, if I had to choose one, that's who I would go with. That's who I would go with.
Mm.
And you knew
Yeah, you
that.
would.
You were sitting
Of
there like, I
course I
know what he's gonna
did.
say. Well, yeah, you know
Yeah,
me
of
well enough. Um,
course.
yeah. And Hollywood guy Jack was great in one. He was great in
Yeah.
Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. That was just a great
Mhm.
film. Iconic. If you guys haven't seen that, check out older movies, guys. We talk about that a lot here. That's right.
You do.
Um, and May, thank you so much. May
So
is.
good.
Can I just say something? In May, I didn't even say this on the stream yesterday when we were celebrating New Year's Eve, but thank you so much putting in the link for our Battle World episode tomorrow night. We're going to talk about more iconic things from the master of horror himself, John Carpenter. So please join us there. And what I wanted to say is, May, thank you so much for helping us out, being our newest moderator and just really stepping up to the plate. It really helps us. And our team of moderators is the best, man. You guys are great.
They are.
Yeah. Scott saying he was amazing in The Departed. Exactly. I mean, Jack Nicholson, guys, I'm just saying, a lot of people, they think of him in a certain way, but he's got some great performances in so many movies, man. So many movies. I'm really sad. There's there's a lot of sadness for me as well. And maybe at some point we can do a specific stream just on him. But the fact that, now he's retired and stuff and, dealing with different issues.
Everyone's getting old.
This is the way of the world. Man. It's the way of the world. And let me just say something. That's exactly why I love to take the time in streams and in videos and whatever content that we can do to talk about these things, to make sure that people who may not have experienced it can, they understand a little bit of the history, especially when we talk about horror, but all movies. And no doubt at all. No doubt at all. He's fantastic. Okay, so let's do this, Coriander. You knew this was coming up. I really love to take the opportunity to talk about a favorite scene with the character. For The Shining, do you have a favorite scene of Jack?
I do. I think he's but obviously when he's at his worst, when he's chasing after Danny and the cook comes, to the inn to check on him, or the Outlook. What the hell was it called? I can't remember what it was called. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And he was going after to kill his kid, and then he hears the cook, and he just gets him with the axe, and it's brutal. And I mean, it was just crazy to see him at his worst. When he was first there, there's, they were a family trying to make it, and now to see it going to end like this. So that was one of my favorite scenes.
Yeah. I definitely agree. And you guys in the chat, let us know your favorite scene from The Shining with Jack. For me, there's so many. I could talk about multiple. But I'll just pick one. To me is, when and this was after, he found Wendy at the typewriter, which is iconic, absolutely iconic, all work and no play, right? But when he is literally coming after her, going up the steps, and just the intensity that he has, it's like he's crossed over. Like there's no more Jack anymore. Now he's totally succumbed to the madness. And
in the bathroom scene, I mean, that was the bathroom scene. That was really
pretty good too. But I mean, this scene when he's coming after Wendy and going up those stairs, I mean, he's totally unhinged, man. He's about he's about to just take her out.
You need to kill your husband, or they're married, right?
Yeah. Well, what I was going to say is that, there's nowhere for her to run. They're stuck out there. They might as well be on another planet. There's
so many good places to hide.
Well, no, but I'm just saying.
And where she put him? Well, right.
Yeah, but we haven't gotten to that point yet. Hold on, I'm just talking about the conversation here, man.
I know.
Like, what he was saying to her was so intense. You know what I mean? You've had your whole life, and it's like he was so convincing and so different than that loving husband father that you saw glimpses of in the beginning of the film. So to me, that's my favorite scene with Jack Torrance. How about for Hannibal Lecter? Do you have a favorite scene of Hannibal's in the film?
Man, I mean, when it's a scene, like whenever I think of Silence of the Lambs, obviously it's that scene where to move this man, they have to put him on like a dolly and have a mask on him. And, it's just crazy to think that this, He reminds me of a proper Englishman, and
Yep.
I don't know. That's one scene I always think of when I think of Silence of the Lambs. So I have to guess
Yes.
I'll choose that.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I think when he is in the cell before his escape,
Mhm.
like holy crap. Because at this point he had always been, behind bars and
Yep.
definitely kept at bay from anyone, including Clarice. So he's in
Mhm.
this cell that's in the museum and it's totally in the middle of the room. So even though he's behind bars, it feels like he has some freedom, right? And it's like when he pulls the okey doke with the guards, and he has the paper clip that he gets from Clarice to undo
Mhm.
the handcuffs, and just the way that he goes about it, it's just like, oh my god, he's free, he got out, he's free. And of
Yeah.
course, and I'm not going to go to the next scene, but how it plays out, I thought it was just so freaking well done, so freaking well done.
Mhm.
So if you had to pick between these two, as far as those favorite scenes you mentioned,
Mhm.
who'd you give the point to?
Um. Oh man. I'd have to say Silence of the Lambs.
Okay. Okay. All right. Um, I think for me, it's tough, man. It's so
It
tough
is, man.
because I think that
I
the
wish I
the
had a
di-
quarter, but that
you,
wouldn't be fair
you mean to
because
flip?
I don't know. Yeah, because
Yeah,
it sucks that I have to choose.
I know. I know. I think
Thanks,
that
Knight.
well,
Thanks,
hey,
Knight. Thank you.
what are you gonna do?
No.
I think that to me, both
Yeah.
of these scenes are great, right? But I think
Yeah.
I would have to go with Jack on this. And the reason
All right.
why, and it's an advantage of sorts, but I think the reason why is because of how he's playing off of Shelley Duvall. That's the
Mhm.
thing. And the fear in her eyes. Now, of course, that amplifies the scene, right? Because he is just unleashing right now. And it was so the fear level was so high because at first when you first watch it, you don't know what's going to happen. And so, man, I'm telling you, I think that it's close, but I gotta
Mm.
give that one to Jack. I'm gonna give that one
All
to Jack.
right.
All right. um so look, let me jump into the chat and catch up with these guys, see what they say on this. um Jason is saying Anthony Hopkins, the cage scene with Jody. All right, very cool one. Yeah. Scott saying favorite Hannibal scene is probably when he attacks the guards and escapes. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yep.
Yep.
It is. Yep.
Let's see. Julie, Wendy, darling, light of my life. I
Yeah.
know. It's great stuff. You guys are ahead of us. We haven't even talked about the quotes.
Oh shit.
We haven't even talked
We're
about
really
that.
talking about quotes.
Well, if you have a favorite one,
Well, you know what? I
Um,
can't
Scott,
remember.
Scott saying The Shining, the bathroom scene. Okay. Very, very cool. Very, very cool. Um, I think it's, as usual, just showing how difficult it is. Now, here's our next category called playing nice. And what I wanted to do with this one is talk about how these characters, how they acted and also reacted to their co-stars. And obviously, this is very simple because we're talking about Hannibal and Clarice, and we're talking about Jack, and we're talking about Wendy. Now, when you think about how Jack was balanced or interacted, I should say, with Wendy, how do you think that played out in the film? Do you think there was some interesting things or interesting moments that stand out for you?
Um, like, I mean, there were many moments, he had his
Hmm.
moments where he was good to her and then he was, going crazy and trying to kill her.
That's right. That's
So,
right.
I mean, what are you asking
Well,
here?
I'm just saying, I just didn't know if there were any particular moments that stand out as far as scenes with the both of them and how they kind of interacted with each other, or how he interacted with her.
Yeah, well, I think the scene obviously with the son, and when he came and he had the hand marks on
Oh,
him,
yes. Yep.
and she was like, "It was you," how she instantly blamed him, and
Yes.
that, that was quite the scene. But
I
yeah.
agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think that, and hey, what's up to Super Tenor? Super Tenor's in the chat. Good to see you, man.
Hey.
Um, and we've got 34 likes. Let's get to 40. Thank you so much, Sarah. We appreciate that. Um, I think for me, there were a lot of great moments between the two of them, and I think one of the ones that was really challenging um, was when he was typing, when he was, and she was just trying to ask him questions, and
Yeah.
you could just see,
Yeah.
right behind it all, the possibilities of where he would go as a character and in this story. And I think that again, both of these films, having Shelley Duvall and Jodie Foster as um, the other actors in the films was a real advantage, and made these two characters better. But yeah, his interactions with Wendy, they just got more and more intense. And that particular
Yeah, they did.
scene, when
Mhm.
he was just like, when you see me, and he was typing on the typewriter, it was just like, oh my gosh, this guy, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Um, how about with the Silence of the Lambs? As far as the interactions that Hannibal had with Clarice, obviously there were a lot less, but how do you think that played out in general?
I mean, he helped her and her whatever, the FBI,
That's
like,
right.
solve the case, so
Mhm.
he was able to escape from it, which is really cool, but he also helped her out, which,
Yeah.
is really cool too.
Yeah.
So, I think, the scene where she was, yeah, going to the killer's house,
Mhm.
and I think that, yeah, that was that was pretty good.
Agreed. Agreed. Well, and I think the thing about their interactions were, like you said, she was being helped by him, but
Mhm.
he also was, to me, he was kind of using her
Oh,
um
yeah.
for, and not just to get his freedom, but even in the beginning, she was kind of a window to um I don't know, to having some type of human interaction, right? He was almost living through that because he had been, locked up in a cell. And I think his
Yeah.
interactions with her, their relationship was really complex, which you could tell throughout the film. And even when he found out that she lied, in trying to get him to
Mhm.
help solve the case, you could tell that he felt betrayed. He was frustrated, but he still had, I think he still admired her. There was still a respect that he had for her, and he
Mhm.
obviously, liked her. He appreciated her ambition. He appreciated her curiosity. She had an intelligence that I think he also respected, even
Oh,
though
yeah.
he's supremely intelligent. So, anyways, I
Mhm.
think that there was a lot of great stuff going on between the two of them. If you had to give a point to either Hannibal or to Jack, as far as their interactions with their co-stars, who would you give the point to?
Jack.
Okay, well, that was quick. All right. All right, I'll put that down. Very, very cool. Um, I think for me, I think I also have to go with Jack on this one. And the reasoning is number one, there was there was a wider lane. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Again, and this is pretty much kind of similar to what I was saying earlier about his performance in this. It just ramped up. It was just absolutely um crazy to see this progression of him, and I think
Mm.
that it was done so well by Jack Nicholson. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Jack on that one as well. Let's see what you guys in the chat are saying. And Ginger Ninja said Jack is just in front of Anthony Hopkins, 51% to 49. Oh,
All
wow.
right. It is
Okay.
close. Dang.
Wow. Okay, we got 37 votes. Let's keep going, guys. And by the way, if you haven't hit the like button, please do. It would really help us out. We appreciate it. Especially for you guys that are voting. If we have 37 votes, we should have at least 37 likes. Sarah or Val, if you're still there, I don't know if you're still there, but definitely let us know. We got Elm Street's Last Brat in the chat. Good to see you. Hope you're
Nice.
doing well.
Hello. Yeah.
Philip making a good point, maybe that Hannibal saw a bit of himself in Clarice. I agree with that. I agree. I think that he saw an innocence that appealed to him,
Mm-hmm.
and it just intrigued him. It's I can't say it any clearer than
You
that.
could
That was
smell
there was
fresh meat, you know?
well, I don't think it was that. I think he could
No, I'm
tell.
just saying all around that she was a, smart, friggin' nice girl. You know what I
Well,
mean?
yeah.
She was just, I'm not saying in a sexual way,
Well, no,
even
I
though
didn't
I,
mean it like that. I thought you meant like
okay.
killing her.
No, no, I
Yeah.
just think, like a fresh breath of air, but I
Okay.
just
All
said
right.
meat.
What did you just say? A fresh breath of air. I mean, come on, man.
I don't know, because
No, I'm
meat,
just messing with you.
it just sounded
All
better.
right. No, it doesn't. Okay.
Oh,
Well, look.
come on, it does though.
So listen. Let's
Yeah.
let's go to our next little bit here, and I
Okay.
think that this one will be an interesting as well. Your favorite scary moment that this character
Hmm.
had or was in. Let's start with Jack. Which would you say is your favorite scary moment or scary scene that Jack was in?
Um, when he was going after his wife with the axe, going
Mm,
through the door, I
yeah,
think that is probably his worst scene for at least with her, I think, because that you're dead if you don't get away or kill him, you're gonna die. So
right.
yeah,
Yeah.
man, I think that scene for me, yes.
Yeah, I think that was really, I mean, that's iconic. That's iconic.
Yeah.
No doubt about that. Still to this day, it's parodied and talked about, and it just shows
Mhm.
how it stands the test of time. We're talking a movie that is, 40 years old, 40 something years old. So
Yeah.
for me, um, I think I'm gonna go with him going after Danny at the end, man. He was just it was over. There was no turning back. I
Yeah.
mean, there was no turning back before that. But I mean, he is
Yeah, you're
literally going to kill his son, his little
yeah,
boy.
that's terrible.
I mean, Daddy. It's like, oh my gosh, and going into the maze. Like again, this movie.
Yeah. But
The thing
that
about
kid was smart. The
oh yeah,
places he hid, like in the kitchen and
oh yeah,
yeah, going into that maze and backtracking and yeah, like when he was in the snow and yeah, that kid. I mean, he was in that movie quite a bit.
of
And you always
course.
talk about child actors. I mean,
Yeah.
this kid was really good in this movie. So,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
no doubt. Danny Lloyd was amazing in this movie, and a lot was on his shoulders. But to me, that was just a scary scene because this is Jack totally unhinged. He's going to go and kill this little kid. He's totally taken over by the madness of the Overlook, and I'm just. I didn't know what was going to happen at that point when I first saw this film, but the atmosphere, that's what I was going to say earlier.
Yeah.
The atmosphere of that scene was just so thick. It was just so crazy. You could feel the cold,
Oh,
right? And you're
yeah.
going through this maze, you get totally disoriented, just like he did. And I think that this is a good example of how the movie and the different things happening really amplified the performances, of both
Mhm.
actors in that scene. But yeah, I would go with that scene as probably a favorite scary moment. How about with Hannibal? Any particular moment that was very scary or scene that you like?
Well, obviously, when he was breaking out and
Hmm.
taking out all these guards and you're just seeing him in action, and yeah. You understand why they had him, on a chained and strapped to a dolly, bringing him
No.
in. So, yeah,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, absolutely. For me, I think that I think that the scene where he's in the cell, and you already have Dr. Chilton who's trying to control him. He's got the lights off and he's sitting in the dark. And it's just so creepy. It's one of my
Mm,
favorite interactions that, Clarice has with him. And again, Anthony Hopkins, he's portraying this serial killer who is so high class and intellectual, and
mhm,
I just love the 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 juxtaposition of it all. He's in this dungeon. They take away his paintings. They got that TV with the religious show played super loud, so it can literally drive him more nuts than he already is. I think that was a great scene because, and again, these actors are all playing off each other. Jodie Foster was great in that scene because you could tell that she was really on the edge. I think it
mhm.
played out great. Who gets the
Oh.
point for these moments? Who gets the point for you?
Um, oh man. I am gonna do Jack.
Okay, all right. Now for me, this is probably one of the tougher categories because they're both very effective. They're both
Mhm.
scary moments, but the actors are very effective. But I think I got to go with Anthony Hopkins on this one. And I
Yep.
think, again, part of it is because the focus is on him and his evil and his madness and so forth, but it's all bottled up in this person who's so reserved. It's like it's almost like there's this monster on the other side of the door that is literally waiting to just jump through and totally devour you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And all that's there is this door, this little door that's easily breakable. And it's like when he's talking to Clarice, it seems
I
like
mean,
he's
you just
just holding
described
back.
Jack's scene also.
Well,
It's
that's true
funny.
too. It's
Yeah.
true too. Although,
Mhm.
for me, my scary moment of him, going after Danny, to me, he's
Yeah.
already there. And like with Hannibal,
Mhm.
there's like this sense of you just don't know, a lot of questions, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna go with Jack. I'm sorry, Anthony on this one. I'm gonna go with
Mhm.
Anthony on this one. For you guys in the chat, let me know what you guys think. Um, and we got Kevin in the chat. Welcome. Good to have you. Hope you're doing well. Saying nobody really seems to know that Doctor Sleep being the sequel to The Shining is very good in its own right. Oh, we definitely know that here. I've talked about Doctor Sleep a lot. I think it's so underrated. And the fact that Mike Flanagan, we're huge fans of Mike Flanagan, by the way. And
Yeah.
I just think what he was able to do with that movie it was almost impossible because you had to cater to three types of fans. You had to cater to fans of the book, you had to
Mhm.
cater to fans of the Shining book, and also the fans of Kubrick's film. And I think that Mike Flanagan, just great stuff. Absolutely great
Yep.
stuff. Yeah, no doubt. Scott saying the whole snow maze scene was well done. It really was. Absolutely. Um, and Super Tenor, yep, I was just saying that it's just a great sequel to the book and to the film itself. Yeah. Yep. Um, Jack coming in with another super chat. Okay, all right. Can we please
No,
use
it's
Jack's
awesome.
name as Mr. Nicholson? My head keeps popping up when I hear my name. Jeez. That's too funny, man. He should be called Mr. Nicholson. He's that awesome. Thanks so much for the super chat, man. Oh my gosh. Jason is going with Anthony Hopkins and his scene. All right. Uh, Scott is going with Jack Nicholson. Let's see who else. Who else? And Ginger Ninja saying we have 40 votes now. Jack in the lead with 55%. Wow. All right. So the votes kind of flipped after a while. That's crazy.
That's
Awesome stuff.
interesting.
Very
Yeah.
interesting. I had no idea which way this was going to go anyways. I really, really didn't.
Right.
Very, very cool. Okay, quotable.
Oh man.
Quotable. Now listen, you don't have to talk about a specific quote. We obviously know quite. What was that?
Oh, I was just talking to Jerry.
Oh, Jerry.
Yeah.
Both of these characters have some really amazing quotable moments. Let me
Mm.
just ask you this. If you had to give a point to either character, who would you give the point for as far as their quotable lines? You don't have to say any particular line unless you want to.
Okay, I'm gonna give this point to Hannibal.
Okay. All right. Any particular reason?
Just you know, just because I don't know, I guess the way he says things, the way,
Okay.
it just sticks out to me more, I guess, his quotes.
Okay. All right. For me, I think it's really close. You know,
Mm,
the small screen time that Anthony has as Hannibal, he has tons of great quotable moments. It's crazy how
mm.
many. There was a time, especially when I was younger, that I would I would quote him, and it was just I just I just love the movie so
Oh,
much,
man.
right?
Yeah,
That being said, um, Jack Nicholson has some really good ones. He
he
he really
does.
does. I mean, and not only that, but there are scenes where he has multiple quotable lines, like the whole scene with Lloyd. I mean,
Mhm,
that's just a quote machine right there. I mean, he's going crazy. He's sitting there talking to the ghost of the hotel, and
mhm.
it's just crazy. Here's Johnny. That's great. Just so many. So
Yeah,
if I have to give a point, and this is close, man. I almost feel bad. I think I'm gonna go with Jack on this one, man.
yeah, I knew you would.
I think I'm. Did you? Did you really?
Yeah, yeah.
It was close, man. I could have gone with
Mhm.
Hannibal, but man, when you really sit back and think about it, that's why I like talking about these as categories because it makes you really
Yeah, I
think.
should probably change it, but see, it's too late.
It's too late. Yeah, it's too late for you, man. Um, Real quick, Paul is going with
Mm,
Anthony Hopkins. All right.
yeah,
Let's see. Let's see. Hollywood guy is going with Anthony Hopkins, I think.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Let's see. Scott's going with Jack. Kevin is going with Anthony Hopkins. Jason is going with Anthony Hopkins. These guys,
Mhm.
they're funny. They're putting the quotes in there. Brandon is going with Jack. Elm Street is going with Jack. Kevin, it is. It's really close between the two of them. It
Yeah,
really, really
it's
is.
tough.
Yeah. Scott Larderdale saying it's close for me too, but I got to give the point to Anthony Hopkins on this one. Nicholson has some great quotes in The Shining, but Anthony wins just because of his delivery. Okay,
Yeah.
very, very cool.
Like when you say the quote, you can hear him saying it, you
You
know?
can, that's true.
Yeah.
But he has a very distinct voice
He
and delivery,
does. He
just
does. So that's very
like
lucky for him.
well, true, but I mean like a Christopher Walken or a
Mhm.
Morgan Freeman, these
Mhm.
actors, their voice and delivery is almost more important than what they actually say, so um
Yeah.
Phillips going with Anthony Hopkins. Okay, all right, very, very cool. This is close, man. Very, very close. Let's talk about the finales that they do have. Obviously,
Mm.
Jack in the maze going after Danny. Well, I should say Jack going after Wendy in the bathroom first, and then going
Mhm.
after Danny, and then of course, for Hannibal, the escape. Getting on the ambulance, the reveal that he did survive. That was a big twist.
Mm.
Because they thought that they had shot him, and then he
Mhm.
was revealed that he took the face of the guard to disguise himself, and he
Yeah,
popped up
man.
off of the gurney in the back of the
He's pulling a
ambulance.
leather face. Yeah.
Yes, he did. He really, really did.
Mhm.
So, which point, or who do you give the point to for their finales as these characters?
I mean, I gotta give it to Anthony, because I mean he got away with murder, and he, it's just, it was a crazy ending, and you didn't think that was how it was going to end. And
Yeah.
with Jack, I mean, you knew by the way the movie was going that, yeah, man, if these people don't trick him somehow or do something, they're going to die.
Yes.
So I think, they're both really good, but I just think, Silence of the Lambs is a smarter, I don't know, ending versus, The Shining. Not that it isn't good, because you're making me choose, and these are
Yeah,
both
man.
really good movies. So
I know. I mean, this is tough the whole way through, man.
yeah, I have to give it to, yeah, Silence of the Lambs.
Okay. All right. Well, for me, I think it's pretty close. They're two different types of endings, like you were saying,
They are.
but just basing it off of what we see, like it is like an amazing scene when he's going after Wendy, and then again with Danny. It's just when you think of The Shining, that's the culmination, and it's so um it's so ironic that it ends in the maze, and it's not the type of ending where there was violence to stop him. It was really Danny outsmarting him, and it was the elements that kept him at the Overlook were the elements that killed Jack. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that was
Yeah.
very poetic. um but with Hannibal and the escape and the big twist reveal that he had
Mhm.
taken the skin of the guard, and then of course
Mhm.
at the end calling Clarice and I'm having an old friend for dinner. And it was like, what? He got away. It's crazy. Um,
Yeah.
I have to give it to Anthony Hopkins on this one as well. I think that there was a lot of interesting things, from his character. And of course, that big twist, that was crazy. When I first saw
Mhm.
that was a big scene for me when I first saw this
Yeah.
movie. Because I thought they shot him, that he was dead, you know
Mhm.
or incapacitated or whatever. So yeah, yeah, crazy stuff. Let's see what we got in the chat. Kevin is going with Hannibal. Hollywood guy is going with Anthony Hopkins. Philip is going with Anthony Hopkins. Paula is going with Anthony Hopkins. Let's see. Brandon says, Jack, I was frozen today. There we go. Jason saying character
Mhm.
finale, Hannibal. Scott is saying for finale, Jack wins easily. Hannibal may have escaped, but Jack went full on bad shit crazy at the end, and it was glorious. All right. Scott Royston saying Jack for the quotes, and the better finale is going with Jack. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Hey, there's Val. All right. Thank you so much.
Hey.
Reminding people to hit the like button, and definitely helps out with all the streams that we have coming up. And we have a great one for tomorrow night as well. It's going to be a great conversation with you guys. Um, so yeah, so these finales, that was really, really interesting. But you know what we got to do, man? At some point, you just got to make a choice. Just from A to Z,
Ugh.
which performance do you choose? Which character do you choose? Is it going to be Hannibal Lecter
Mm,
or Jack? You knew we were going to do this, or Jack.
yeah. I mean, like I said, Hannibal Lecter and that character was really good. But it's too bad he wasn't in the movie more, you know,
Yes. Mhm,
because that would make it probably 100% him.
mhm.
But like I said, with what you see and the changes you see in Jack is, just it's incredible to see, and he did such a good job. So
Mhm.
I'm just not that Anthony didn't,
Right, right.
because again, you're making me choose, like it says. So I'm gonna go with Jack. There you
Okay.
go.
All
Yeah.
right. All right. So, for me, this is tough, man, and I love both of these characters. Um, and I think they both did amazing things, man. But
They did. Thanks. Thanks,
I
Nate.
I know, I know. I gotta go with Anthony Hopkins on this, man. There's no lying here. There's never been any lying, and
I
and
knew
and
you
it
would.
and it well, yeah. I mean, and this is the category. This is the type of category where we can just kind of choose our favorite. Have our biases, out there for the
Yes,
world.
you
And
can.
like I've said before, this movie was a huge turning point for me, and he was such a big part of that. His portrayal. I mean, I became like so much more of a horror nerd after this movie, man. I mean, he really affected me.
I
This
believe it because,
performance.
wow,
So
you're like way up there, man.
yeah, man.
No.
So I'm gonna go with Anthony Hopkins on this, and it is what it is. It is what it is. But I love Jack Nicholson. I love the character of Jack Torrance. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Okay, real quick, let's see what we got going on in the chat because that was our last category. We got to count this thing up. And let's see. Kevin was saying I've watched recently a few videos on YouTube about Stanley Kubrick being very cruel to Shelley Duvall on the set of The Shining. Is there truth to all that? Yes, there is. I mean, I've seen interviews with Shelley Duvall talking about it, Jack Nicholson talking about it. So there's definitely truth to it, and it's too bad. It really is too bad.
It is, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a great director, but he was definitely
Yeah.
a
A dick.
taskmaster.
Yeah.
So. And of course, we've heard that about a lot of different directors, especially some of the great directors. I've heard that about James Cameron, that he's a
Mm-hmm.
taskmaster. I've even heard that about Spielberg. Not to the same degree, but I'm just saying, they want things done a certain way, and that's just how it is, and so forth. So, anyways,
Yep.
Scott coming in. Oh wow, okay, wow. Scott gifted 5
Awesome.
memberships. Very,
That's
very cool.
awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Scott. We really appreciate that, man. Awesome stuff. Looks like we got memberships gifted to Lily, to Ferry, JG, James, and Guts. All right. Well, welcome to the channel membership. Some new names, and hopefully we'll get a chance to see you guys in live streams and so forth. But definitely, when you get a chance, give a shout out and a thanks to Scott for doing that. It was very kind of you, Scott. We truly
Yeah,
appreciate it. Helps us out so very much,
definitely.
man. Really, really does. So let's play another super chat clip. And sometimes, man, when you need to do some dancing,
Oh
Coriander,
no. Oh
there,
yeah.
what? There's why do you say it like that?
Because there's
What?
just so far of what. Anyway, just
What?
play it, dude. Nothing.
Just play it. When you need to do some dancing, there's only one song that you can have in the background because you just can't let go.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow. Jeez.
Ah, I
There's a
love it.
lot of head bobs in
It
that
does.
one.
Yeah, it was, man. It wasn't
Oh
enough,
man.
man. Real
Mm.
quick, Julie, and again, Scott, thank you so much for that. It was so cool of you, man. We really appreciate you, brother. And Happy New Year. And again, Happy New Year to everyone who's come into the stream
Yeah.
late. We said that earlier, but hopefully you're having a great first day of 2024. Julie saying, I'm a
Yeah.
sucker for Jack T. Gotta pick him. All right.
There you go.
Paula's going for Hannibal. Okay.
Mhm.
Let's see. Hollywood guy saying Hannibal or Jack. That's not fair, but I will have to choose Hannibal. But Jack is great too. All right.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. Let's see. And Scott is welcoming the new members. Thank you so much. Seriously. Thank you.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Scott L is going with Anthony Hopkins. All right. There we go. Who would
Yeah.
have thought?
Thanks, Knight. Everyone's
Philip-
saying, damn it, and
I know.
oh geez,
Philip saying Hannibal. Jack was amazing, but it's Hannibal for me. Okay.
All
All right.
right.
Scott Royston saying Jack Nicholson is close, though. They are both good, though. Absolutely. Mario going with Jack. Let's see. Brandon is saying I'm going to go with Jack. Anthony was brilliant, though. Okay. All right. And Julie wants to get this showdown down with Anthony and Mads from the TV show Hannibal, who was great. But Julie, you know who I would pick, and I love Mads Mikkelsen, but come on now.
Yeah.
Jose's in the chat.
Mhm.
What's up, man? Good to see you.
Hey.
Good to see you. All right. Jason is going with Jack Nicholson. Elm Street saying Jack was a total spectacle. I choose Jack. All right.
All
Very, very
right.
cool. And Val's reminding people, if you've been gifted a membership and you would like to continue after the gift membership expires, make sure you hit the auto renewal button. We would absolutely love it if you stay with us.
Yeah.
Dwight is
Definitely.
in the chat. Good to see you. And we got Scott
Hey.
coming again. Wow, man. Scott gifted another 5 memberships.
That's awesome.
Wow, man. Thank you
Yeah.
so much,
Happy New
Scott.
Year. Yeah.
Very, very much so, man. Thank you so much. That helps us out so much. And we got 5 more members from Scott. And we've got Daniela. Mario was gifted a membership. Notice Me. We got James and Ultimate Assassin. All right.
Very
Very,
cool.
very cool. Well, welcome to the channel membership. We appreciate you guys, and definitely, again, give a shout out to Scott. He's saying Happy New Year. Yeah, very much so. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
man. And Val saying, yeah, wow, Scott, that's right. It's very, very cool. We appreciate it. We truly do. It helps us out. It helps us keep going. It's it can be rough. It can be rough, but we're making it through it. We got through the power outage and all that stuff, so we're looking to be back on track. And Scott saying Happy New Year night. Thank you, man. Much appreciated. Like I said, this helps out so much with the community, for the channel and beyond. So thank you so much. Dwight saying, how is Jack beating what Anthony Hopkins did as Hannibal? Well, it's close. It's close, man. Yeah. It's very, very close. Brandon
It
saying,
is.
Scott, you're the MVP tonight. Thank you so much, brother. Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Aw.
And Scott saying,
You
thanks,
should-
Brandon. I wanted to bless people for the new year. You really did, man.
You did.
Really
That's
did.
awesome.
Yeah. So look, let's do this. Val, if you could give us our final tally for the poll, I'm going to count up the points we have here for the panel. Coriander, any final
Yeah.
thoughts on these two as I give out the points?
Oh, I mean, you picked 2 really incredible actors
Yes.
and 2 really awesome movies. So, I mean, to have to choose sucked. So
Yes.
thank you again. I don't know how
You
many
said
times
that
I can
many,
thank
many
you.
times. I know.
I did, and I might just keep doing it because,
Okay.
shit. No. But yeah. Was that
That's
enough
good.
said?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's
All
good.
right.
Well, listen, man, between you and I, here's the score. You
Yeah.
wouldn't believe this. The score is 8
Mm-hmm.
to 8.
Oh, wow.
It is
That's
absolutely
cool.
between the two through all of these
Well,
categories.
that makes it all worth it then in the end because
It
they
does.
both win.
Well,
So
no. Look, man, we gotta make this thing happen. So this is what we're gonna do. The
yeah, it's
tiebreaker
a
is
TKO. It's a
what?
technical knock.
What are you talking about, man? Listen, we gotta break
Mike
this tie.
Tyson's, don't you remember that video game, Mike Tyson's game
Punch
there?
Out. Of
Yeah,
course, I
man.
remember that. I used to play that as
Well,
a
okay
kid.
then.
I don't know where you're going with this, but look, this is how we're gonna break the tie, guys. We have to go to the
No.
poll. And
Oh.
right now, we're going to close the poll out. So hopefully you guys did vote. And by a score of 57 to 43, well, I'm sorry, 57
Wow.
to 42, and we have 47 votes, Jack Nicholson pulls it off, man.
Wow.
Jack pulls it off. We have almost 50 votes. That's crazy, man.
Wow. Yeah.
But
That's
57%, man. They listen, I'm gonna say this. And I love both of these films so very much, but I'm impressed, because The Shining is the older film. And, I think with a lot of folks, sometimes they don't get a chance to watch a lot of these older films as much. Although The Shining is so iconic, both
Mm,
films are iconic, but The Shining, I think, and also being Stephen King adaptation. But yeah, man,
yeah.
it goes to Jack.
Wow.
It goes to Jack. That's absolutely crazy. In the chat, man.
Mhm.
Um, Philip said, it's a tie. It's a tie. Not anymore, though.
Right?
Um,
Yeah, that's bullshit.
Come
You
on,
gotta
man.
let ties be, man. You gotta
No,
let them
man.
be.
No.
That's bull.
Scott coming in
Bull.
saying, I appreciate that night. There are other channels that don't take the time to appreciate their members. So this is very kind of you. Oh, well, thank you, man.
Uh-huh.
I mean, we definitely appreciate you guys.
It's
And
funny because that's why, Knight created this channel was to get, members and to include, as many people as he could. And,
mhm,
to see it grow like it has, it's incredible. So yeah, the work that you do and the time you put into it, it takes a lot of time.
mhm, mhm.
You creators, what I'm talking about because
Yeah.
I see it, all the time. So yeah, man,
Yeah.
it's awesome, babe.
Yeah.
What you've done. So
Well,
yeah,
I mean, well, all of
good
us
work.
together, you as well. I mean, I think that like you said, we always wanted to be able to hang out with other people that love movies as well
Hmm.
and people that appreciate horror. And I think that it's a
Yeah,
great way to do it through this platform. And especially when
yeah.
you have
We
channel
wanted to
members.
Yeah, we
Oh,
wanted
good.
to hear people's opinions,
Hmm.
and not just ours, who
Right.
care, well, I don't want to say who cares, but you know what I'm saying. It's more
Yeah.
than just our voices,
Right.
on this channel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was gonna say is that, to have
Yeah.
channel members that we can spend the extra time with and also do
Mhm.
some of the extra things with the exclusive things and hangouts and all of that type of stuff. It just makes it so much more fun because you get to know the members a bit more because they're around a
Mhm.
bit more, and so forth. I can communicate with them a little bit more exclusively. And so,
Mhm.
yeah, anyways, Scott, but thank you so much. We appreciate it. And yeah, we definitely appreciate all of you guys and
Yeah,
our regular viewers too. But having
definitely, man.
having this family, it means a lot. It means a lot.
Yeah.
So Brandon coming in saying, I love SMC, but I like the change of pace with these battles. Hope to see more of these with different characters. Yeah, man, we were really excited to do this tonight and
Yeah.
it's been a lot of fun.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I love Slasher Movie Club too.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah,
but go ahead.
absolutely. Mario saying Jack wins. That's
Mm.
right. Julie
Yeah.
saying Jack is not a dull boy. That's
No.
right.
He's a
Uh
freaking psycho boy.
too funny. Kay saying
Mm.
all work and no play. That's right. Um Scott Royston saying Jack Nicholson for the win. Absolutely. Have a good night, Brian. Brian's heading on out.
Yeah, have a good
Catch you
night.
later. Yeah. Mario saying Night's one of my favorite horror channels. Been following you for 2 years now. Hey man,
Oh,
we
that's
appreciate it.
awesome.
Yeah, man,
Yeah,
we appreciate it. We know that that there's a lot of channels out there, and so it's
yeah,
always very very cool to hear people that enjoy the content because there's a lot of places that you can go. But one
yeah.
thing I will say is that we're huge movie fans, and we love talking
Mm,
about it. So hopefully that passion can always translate in the content that we do, whether it be videos or live. So thank you so much, man. We appreciate the faithful support. It's awesome.
yeah,
It's awesome.
definitely.
Let's see. Dwight was saying I didn't understand The Shining when I was younger. Yeah, it's a great thing about The Shining. There's so much complexity to it. As I got
Mm.
older, I saw more things in it as well. You know, yes. Um, and Scott Royston saying I forgot to say hi to Coriander. Sorry.
It's
There
okay.
you go.
Hello.
Very cool. Very cool. Ginger Ninja saying thanks to the Nightwatch Zone, Coriander, for everything they do. Thanks to all in the chat as well. Happy New Year and hope you all have an awesome
Yeah,
2024. I couldn't have said it any
yeah.
better.
Happy
Ginger,
New
Ginger,
Year's,
thank you so
Ginger.
much.
Yeah.
Yep. And thank you guys so much. You guys are too kind. We appreciate all the support, Jack and Julie, Super
Mm-hmm.
Tenor, all of you guys. Same thing to you, Jason. You guys are
Definitely.
all right. And
Yes,
Scott, we
yes.
appreciate you, man. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
definitely.
So yeah, so Jack Nicholson pulls it out by the poll vote,
Did.
and I think it
Yeah.
was pretty interesting. So this was a lot of fun for you guys
Mm.
in the chat. Definitely
You need to
leave some
have like a
comments.
technical knockout, you know. No, what was the tie though? What did they call a tie? Just a tie
A
in that
tiebreaker
game?
in what game?
No, like in Mike Tyson's Punch Out. What?
They didn't have any ties, man. You're going off on this weird tangent. What are we doing, man?
Well, because it's versus, dude. You know.
I
So
know. You mean like a draw?
anywho, well, no, because I think a tie should be a tie, and you
Well,
shouldn't, take that away because they both won. Man, I think that's
but see,
bull.
here's the fun of it. The reason we do it
Poll
is
is great, and you
because the
should have counted
panel.
that like some other way.
Well, the reason I did it is because for us in the panel, we would have
Yeah,
our vote. But if we tied,
yeah,
the
and then
audience
it should
gets
have
to choose.
tied. I get that, but dude,
So
come
that's why I
on.
did it like that. Anyways, for you
Come
guys in the
on.
chat, we appreciate you so much. Leave us some comments. Let us know what you think about this battle.
Yeah.
And we can talk about it more there. Don't forget to hit the like button. It helps to support the channel, and we
Mm-hmm.
appreciate it. And we will catch you guys next time. If you're watching this, if you're listening to this, you are the Night Watch. Peace.
Upchurch.